Hello and welcome to the Broad Street Hockey Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Gilbert. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Joe DeMarini. How we doing, Joe?
Fantastic. It's almost Friday. What's not to love?
Better than the Flyers. And joining us here, we have a guest, Jacob Russell from the Great White North up there. How we doing, Jake?
I'm good. How are you guys doing? It's been a weird week. It's just been a strange week thus far.
Hey, there's the first A of the podcast right there. So if we're doing a Canadian, take a shot when a Canadianism happens. There's your first one.
It's impossible to not do at this point. It's one of those things you never notice. I've been to Philly a few times, and every time I go, everyone always tells me my accent's just like it flows. It's just right out in the open, and I don't hear it. You know, it's one of those things I just don't hear it, but it's always there.
Yeah, it's slight. After listening to hosers and hearing them say, I just have to hose going brother out, it's all that stuff. Like it's very slight compared to those guys.
He was literally in a Tim Hortons bathroom doing the podcast. Like I can't match that. I can't do that.
So check out hosers if you're into some just good old fashioned Canadian hockey talk. Good stuff there with Thomas Williams and two of his friends from up there. Of course, make sure to check out Flyperbole as well with Steve and Quigley. I think they're recording tonight. And the Fly guys, too, they usually record late in the week, so probably Friday or Saturday. Keep a lookout for that. Make sure you're subscribed to the Broad Street Hockey podcast feed on Spotify, Apple, YouTube. We're live there now. Shout out everyone in the YouTube there, Facebook, Twitter, X as well. So shout out everyone joining us live as well as everyone listening after the fact. Plan on recording this after the back-to-back, so we're going to do it here. Keep it relatively shorter, not go too long here. Just dive right into it. Like what?
Listen, we always say it's going to be a short one, and then we ramble.
It has to be a short one. I have a cutoff time this time. It has to be. But so start it off. I'll start. Just doesn't have to be the most important thing in your head, but like, what is the most front of mind? Like for me, it's why is Nick Deslauriers playing in both back-to-backs? When you have 14 forwards up, you need offense. Why are you playing Nick Deslauriers? He had a great scoring chance, hit the post. Maybe someone else would have put that in though. So that's just my small thing. Inconsequential in the big picture, but just torts being torts there.
I mean, didn't Coots ring one off the post as well? Like they just can't score. Like Nick D hitting the post is pretty much par for the course. But
Coots was from the slot though. Nick D was from like the high crease, post the high slot. Yeah,
the net.
Yeah, the only place he can ever really score.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jacob.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
You're so Canadian.
I know he is. Isn't he?
Seriously, I am. I can't interrupt people. But no, the thing that really had me burning this week, at least to start this week, I don't understand how you can take Tyson Foerster out of the lineup this early. Like I know he hasn't started well. I understand that he hasn't necessarily carried over, the strong play from last year. But you can't go into the locker room and then tell the players about to go on the ice that Tyson Foerster's not in the lineup, and I think that I'm doing that because it makes our team better. I can't see it.
I know. I was kind of miffed about that too. I think it was on the PHLY pod that they made a good point. Like that's towards scratching one of his guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like if he scratches Morgan Frost or Bobby Brink, it's like it's just towards doing his same old shit. But scratching Foerster, one of his like favorite players on the team, is like, oh, we really got to get it together here. Yeah.
Foerster is one of his guys, like scratching Frost or Brink for the lack of defense is understanding. But I'm pretty sure Foerster had one of the best betting odds for the Selke Trophy on the whole team. And speaking of betting, basketball fans, it's that time of year again. The NBA is back. From opening tip-off to buzzer beaters, BetOnline has you covered with the best odds, biggest promos, and live in-game betting on all your favorite teams. This season, every game matters, unlike other seasons. BetOnline has every stat, matchup breakdown, and live odds to bet on during the game. They also got everything from football, MLB World Series, NHL, and political props. Love those. Head to the website today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. And I would not have bet on Tyson Foerster being scratched. I think he played in all 82 games last year. He stayed in the lineup, stayed up with the team, even when he wasn't scoring. So seeing that, we're assuming everyone's fully healthy and they're not banged up. They could be banged up, but from our perspective, it was definitely a surprising move.
Yeah, is Forster the first like actual like healthy scratch of consequence of the season? Like I know Noah Cates sat, but that was to get Jett Luchanko in, and then Jett Luchanko sat, but that was like load management. Is he the first like surprise healthy scratch?
Because that was Tuesday, right? And then Brink was Wednesday. So
I was gonna say Brink got it too, but I think it was after, right?
Yeah, Brink was on Wednesday night and Forster was the Tuesday night.
Yeah, so the first big scratch of the season is one of Torts' favorite players. That's didn't see that one coming.
No, I mean, and yeah, it's just like Forster has one of the goals. He stood up for his. I forgot who took the hit. It might have been Drysdale in one of the first games. He got the instigator 10-minute misconduct there.
That's
so
right.
he's showing it. It's just I don't know. Torts' whole line blender right now. I have an article coming out later tonight or tomorrow on Broad Street Hockey. I submitted it on just how there's been no consistency whatsoever. Like even game to game, sometimes period to period, like who's playing together.
Yeah. I think at some point you need to start developing some chemistry with at least a couple players here and there, like not even I'm talking trios. At least give me a couple duos that, either Coots and Konechny are going to be together, or Frost and Tippett are going to be together, or Couturier and Mishkov are going to be together. Like something needs to be set in stone before we hit the 10-game mark here, so you can start building towards what you hope will be some sort of nucleus on the forward core for the future, right? Yeah. You just bouncing it around. I don't see how it helps anybody.
Yeah, no shade to them, but you don't like the Joel Farabee, Bobby Brink connection? They seem to be together no matter what. I know Joe's not a fan of that.
Nope.
I mean, the thing with both of those guys is when they're hot and when they're playing really well, they're really noticeable and they're really good. But I found that, ever since there's a certain point last season, even with Farabee, that he kind of lost it a little bit and he didn't get it back. And when he doesn't have it, and same with Brink, when they don't have it on the night, it's tough. It's tough for him to create anything.
Farabee's ice time last night. Do you think he broke 9 minutes of ice time?
Based on what you're saying, no.
8:58. He almost got 9 minutes of ice time.
What was his line last night? Was he with Paling and Brink? That's the thing.
Brink wasn't in.
Not Brink. Farabee and whoever else, Lawton maybe. I don't know, because Lawton was up with. I don't even know what the lines are anymore. It's just besides the fourth line.
It was Tippett and Paling, I think.
I don't understand the Paling love. Like I love him as a fourth liner, even third line center at times, but higher than that, I don't know if it's just like a cry for help from Torts or just really it just really shows the Flyers' lack of center depth. There's not one guy. I guess Frost, is going to be centering one of the top two lines, but outside of that, it's just who knows.
Yeah, I mean, Paling did block a couple of shots last night, so
he did, and they didn't blow it dead, which they should have done.
It hurt. Looked like it hurt a lot.
But that was so bad. Why? He's literally crawling across the ice. The Flyers are gaining possession. You blow the play dead at that point. Like, so ridiculous.
Wow. I mean, he's a hockey player, right? He's going to get up. Ryan Paling's going to get up. That's why he plays first line minutes.
Exactly.
Oh,
that's why he put him on the power play.
They didn't though. I know they did in practice, but wasn't that Scott Lawton eventually?
No, they didn't.
They subbed him in?
I don't believe they did. No,
I think
that's a callback. I think.
And then
more than anything.
No, he was on the.
They haven't done it yet.
He was on the second power play unit on Monday because Joe and I recorded on those lines.
Right, but that's because Scott Lawton was at the birth of his kid. So yes. I think they swapped Paling out for Lawton when Lawton came back to the lineup.
Yeah, I think recently it has been.
He was just filler. He was just a filler spot on the second unit.
Yeah. Here that from Cleverino. That's how to know who was inconsequential when fans can't even recall where they played. Yeah,
that's a very good point, man. That is dead on.
And like, we're not too far into the season, but we're 7 games in. I want to see like, okay, this line is looking good, or like Jacob, you said, this pair together is looking good, and the Flyers don't have that at all.
Hey, Michkov looked pretty good last night.
Michkov Konechny looks great, but then it's either Michkov or Konechny playing on their offside, which I don't think it should matter that much. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Like, Michkov's the new guy. Let him be where he's comfortable. Put TK over there. He's done it before.
And the thing with that is I think the Couturier Mishkov, like that pairing looks really good together, surprisingly, kind of.
Mhm.
But the thing is, I have no faith that's going to maintain for like the next even 2 games. Next game, it could be gone. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, and you also want to look like further down the line. That's why I didn't mind seeing Frost and Tippett with Michkov because, like, okay, moving forward, not 2 games down the line, but 2 years down the line, like Couturier is not going to be centering Michkov. Hopefully, Frost isn't. Hopefully, they can either get Luchanko up here or draft somebody. But like, this is Frost's chance to like prove that okay, he can play with a skilled winger and maybe hold his own as a top 6 center. But then I don't really know if I like to Tippett and Michkov together because they're 2 different kind of players. Tippett's very north-south. Michkov kind of slows it down. So I kind of like the Forster, Couturier, Michkov. I don't know if that actually played together. I don't know if that was just in my head, but I feel like that's a trio of players that could fit well.
Yeah, and I know Joel Farabee hasn't been it. I would love to see him with Coots and Michkov. I feel like there's something there. He's not playing well enough to earn the spot, so they won't give it to him. But I think he'd be really good in that spot. So it's just this like Ouroboros of like, well, he's never going to get up there, but he's not playing well enough to get up there, and we go round and round.
Yeah, they got Forster, Couturier, Mishkov listed as the top line on Daily Faceoff. So that I like that line. You know, I do agree that Morgan Frost, offensively wise, is probably the best center to have next to or on the top line if you want to create the most offense. But like you said, you know, he's not necessarily, you know, making it a no doubt decision to put him on the top line, right? So he's not forcing Torts' hand to do it. I don't think you know, we've seen that Torts is not 100% locked in on Coots as the 1C. So, you know, the job's there to be taken, but he's just not done it yet.
Yeah,
and
like, go ahead, Joe.
I was gonna say for Frost yesterday, the frustration was very clear. Like, he took that penalty, which was a weak penalty. He missed a shot, and he was really pissed off about it. Like, you can see that these players are frustrated as all hell. And seeing Morgan Frost like that, he usually seems like one of the more stoic, kind of like put together guys on the team. So to see him like starting to lose it a bit, I was like, oh, this is new. I haven't seen Morgan Frost, this kind of, you know, version of Morgan Frost before.
Yeah, and he had that wraparound chance in the third period, chance to tie the game. And if he just took a split second more, like Thompson was completely out of position. And someone posted it in the Slack earlier today, like most shots without a goal this season for Higgy, Cousins, Dylan Cousins, Roman Yossi, then Morgan Frost, 24 shots. I mean, he's 24 shots in 7 games. That's more than 3 shots a game. I like seeing that from him, but hopefully once he gets going, like he gets one, he'll get going. Like we saw that Wednesday night, the team got one. And then, you know, I mean, not even like great goals, just threw it on net, screens and whatnot, and they got their confidence going. So hopefully Frost can just get one and go off that.
Yeah. I mean, who else are they going to play?
Yeah.
Paling,
well,
sure.
Yeah. I want to, if Konechny's going to be on the left wing, I wouldn't mind seeing Konechny, Frost, Michkov. I think that's your three out of your 4 most skilled players, sans Tippett. But at that point, I guess you do Tippett, Couturier, Forster. Like it's a lot of weird mixing and matching, and we can't even really say if it's good or bad because we haven't seen it for long enough.
Yeah, I mean that's you can do anything, right? You just need to find a couple trios that work together, right, and let them stick for a bit so we can really start to decipher who should be playing with who.
Yeah. I wonder if this 5-on-5 line blender is Torts like being told by Rocky Thompson you can't mess with the power play units. So he's like, well, I'm just going to mess with the 5-on-5 then. So because you won't let me change the power play, 5-on-5's in a blender every day.
Well, you should be changing the power play because Agor, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we can get to him just as a whole now. He should not be on the second power play unit. Joe and I talked about it last show. Put York there, put Sanheim there. Like you have other guys that can quarterback a power play. And then, I mean, obviously the low light was him going off the ice when Drysdale passed him the puck because he was looking at Drysdale with a stick on the ice.
Stick on the ice.
And you know what's the worst part is that's probably not his worst play this season. Probably not one of his top 3 worst. Like, thank God for him that he's Russian and he's translating, because I think otherwise Emil Andre would have and definitely should have got a chance, because that could be a great pair. Emil Andre, little small guy, little fast guy. You got big Risto, kind of got a nice buddy cop thing going there.
So this just occurred to me. One of the wrinkles about putting Cam York on a power play unit, isn't he due for a contract this summer?
Yeah.
If his points go up from power play production, they're going to have to pay him more. I know Torts probably isn't thinking about this, but do you think there's
they can't
probably
not at all.
They can't.
I don't think Rocky's thinking about it either, to be quite honest with you. I don't
Probably
think
not.
anybody's thinking that.
But
I think they just found Zamula was found money in the power play last year, right? Like when it was so awful, when it was absolutely disgraceful, they put him out there. He scored a couple goals from the point, and they said, "Okay, well, just go with him. Nobody else can do it."
No.
Like they might put Risto on the point at some point. I wouldn't be shocked.
He did that in Buffalo. He could do it again.
I mean, it's not worse at this point, at this juncture. He's in over his head. I think Zamula, he needs to be taken off more so just to simplify his game, right? Too. He's thinking about way more than I think he can really handle at this time.
Too many minutes for him right now. And for York, the organization seems real high on him. Why wouldn't you let him get power play time? If you think he's going to be this good or that good, put him in a position to succeed. Put him in a position to do it.
I think with that, though, they think he's just a better defensive defenseman now. Like obviously everyone wants their top first-round pick defenseman to be offensive and be able to run a power play, and he definitely could. He's not going to be worse than Zamula, but like they like how he's played two-way. They like how he's the number 1 defenseman. It's not Sanheim. He's the number 1. So maybe they want to keep him fresh for after the power play, but I'd rather have Zamula taking a break on the bench and not giving up breakaways every other time out there.
Also, he doesn't have to run power play 1.
No,
he just has to run power play 2. So even if he's like more of a defensive defenseman, but has enough offense to do a second, like just be an average second unit guy, that's still a lot better than whatever Igor Zamula's doing. Or Eric Johnson. Maybe Eric Johnson's the answer.
Oh, God.
He's the solution if they scratch Zamula.
Well, he's got a tinted visor now, so he's a skill player.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
He's a skill player.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
Yeah, I've learned from my time playing in Eschel. If they got a tilted visor, they're good. They're good stuff.
Yeah. He's got to make it purple. He'd be really good.
Yeah. Get some extra bonus points there with the purple.
Snazzy. Yeah. Like that.
It was a hot topic a few days ago. Less of a hot topic now, but how warm John Tortorella's seat is on Twitter. I know Joe's shaking his head. No, it's not an actual thing. So it's right now like the Flyers are between, okay, Torts is our guy. We're riding this out no matter what. He can scratch Forster. He can scratch Brink. He can do his things to develop a team the best way he can. Or there has to be like the other side of this I'm thinking is, did Michkov coming over early kind of ruin things? They didn't think they would have, because Michkov right now is the most important person in the organization. I think Kurt has said this before, like it used to be Torts, and now Michkov's going to be here longer than Torts is. Luchanko is going to be here longer than Torts is, at least in their current roles. Maybe he'll move upstairs. So I don't know if that's like an actual thing or maybe even in the back of their heads, but this is Torts' team for better or for worse. And he hasn't really rebuilt a team before. So it is interesting. I know someone wrote an article today on BroadStreetHockey.com.
And subscribe.
Oh, that was Jacob Russell here on the podcast. How Luchanko and Michkov helped show a different side of Torts. So Jake, let's go to you for this one.
Well, so this was something I was sort of looking through Torts' history and his most successful teams, right? That 03-04 Tampa Bay team with Vinny Lecavalier, Brad Richards, Martin St. Louis. Richards and Lecavalier were both 23 at the time, right? And were two of, if not the most important players on the team, right? The captain was Andrechuk, who was 40. But besides that, those two were the most productive guys. You go to, I believe it's the 2011 Rangers. You got guys like Carl Hagelin You got guys like I can't remember the exact names now. I believe it was
Kreider
also,
young there?
No, Kreider was young, but he didn't play very much. It was Derek Stefan.
Steppen.
Stepan?
It's with a P, is it not?
I've always called it Stefan. I don't know. Stepan?
I believe so.
Was
Anyways.
Henrik Lindqvist there already too?
Yes,
Yeah.
but he was older. But Derek Stepan. I just threw an absolute wrench in my brain now. I've always said Stefan, but I'm not looking at it.
Derek Stepan.
Derek was 21 and played a very big role on that team.
Yeah.
Stepan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know why I thought that was how that is. Sorry, Derek. But yeah, you look at it, and there's a lot of young players actually on Torts teams who do play on the best Torts teams, on the most successful Torts teams, who play a significant role. So that was what I was trying to put across there. Now, Mishkov and Luchanko, obviously, this isn't a team that's going to be contending, but scratching guys in favor of Luchanko and even scratching Luchanko, it's not something that's new to Torts, right? Like giving those younger guys, if they are willing to take the responsibility, Torts will give it to them. And even if you look at his play style, that sort of quick forecheck, north-south, getting pucks in deep, try to play as fast and push the opposition as much as you can. A lot of the guys who can do that are the young guys, right? Like 35-year-olds aren't keeping that pace up for a lot of the full 60 minutes, right? So that's all I was really trying to get across, was just Torts is giving these guys, giving these guys more leash because they've earned it. And he thinks that they have more to give than the guys that he currently has, like Morgan Frost, right? He thinks right now, as it is, that Jett Luchanko, if he can really get to mold him throughout the season, would provide more at the end of it than a guy like, Morgan Frost would, I think.
There's also no reason to not give them the leash. This season is all about fucking around and finding out. I don't care if Jamie Drysdale's out there for 22 minutes and 3 goals against. Give him the minutes to work through it. I mean, there's an argument to be made that Zamula should be able to work through this, but he was here all of last year. He's looking real bad right now. Let him work through it in reduced minutes. But as far as other Torts teams, I think a lot of people underestimate how he coached in Columbus. Like, that was a young team. They had a lot of up-and-coming talent. And Zach Werenski was one of those defensemen that Torts first described as a quote-unquote rover. Like, he has always had this like a more forward-thinking mindset than we like to think. He just masks it because he's always this like, rah, all like blustery old hockey guy. But he actually has a track record of more forward-thinking approaches to how he coaches the game. So let the young players run, and there's a reason he's looking for fast centers, not slow ones right now.
I actually brought up, that was the third team I brought up, was that team when he won the Jack Adams in Columbus.
Yeah.
I think Seth Jones was 22 and Werenski was 19 years old. And Werenski, they were the top pair. I think they had the most time on ice throughout the entire year, or close to it. I think there was another defenseman whose name's escaping me, who also was on that Columbus team, might have played more. But yeah, they were the guys. They were the top pair. And there was no problem with that. And it worked until it didn't. But, it worked for the whole regular season. That team really overachieved, and they weren't supposed to be very good.
Yeah. Yeah, he has a track record of this, but people are like, no, he'll never play the kids. He's never going to play. Blah, blah, blah. He's just going to scratch him and bench him. But no, watch the game, nerds,
Yeah, looking at that Blue Jackets team, you had 22-year-old Alex Wennberg, 24 Brendan Saad, 19 Zach Werenski, 22 Seth Jones, as you said. Boone Jenner was 23, Josh Anderson 22. But also looking back at that 2011-12 Rangers team, that's when I was going to college in Central North Jersey, so one of my best friends was a Rangers fan. It was a Winter Classic year, and just reading off some of these names is just, I feel my blood pressure rising. You got Ryan Callahan, Derek Stepan, Michael Delzato, Carl Hagelin, Artem Anisimov, Brandon Dubinsky, Dan Girardi, Brandon Prust, Mike Rupp. It's a cast of characters there.
Artem Anisimov.
He was 23 back then. Yeah.
Phantom's legend.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Yeah, so he has that track record. It's just he's also been able to take those teams really quickly to the next level because they've had more skill. They've had more skill, more talent throughout the lineup, and also in Columbus having Sergei Bobrovsky definitely did not hurt.
I think it's also important to point out that the teams he was brought in to coach at that time were trying to take that next step to compete. This is the first time he's been brought on the step before that, which is to ascertain like who's going to stick around, what players are good enough to be here, and like, you know, take them to where his role usually comes in and hand it off to someone else. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But hey, rebuild's a rebuild, baby.
Yeah, as Mean Metal Mike says in the YouTube chat, it's a rebuild.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a rebuild.
This
is what Joe has been saying. This is what a rebuild looks like. So yeah, it's easy to get frustrated after how last season ended, and replacing Michkov with Atkinson being the only real major change, and seeing this 1-5-1 start. But it's a rebuild. They're not going to be 1-80-1 the rest of the way. Like they're gonna turn the corner at some point.
I always come back to Micah over at Hockey Viz. His graph has like the way teams win. There's one that's like bad. We may win, but I may die, or good. My favorite one that I think describes the Flyers is lose scrappy. That is exactly what the Flyers are going to do a lot of this season. They're going to be like last night's Capitals game. They are going to fight and claw and try their best. They're going to be scrappy, and then they're going to lose the game anyway.
Well, sorry.
Go ahead.
I got to stop apologizing. Everyone's going to start making fun of me.
Surrey,
eh?
yeah.
Surrey's actually in BC.
Oh,
Surrey. Yeah.
I actually just turned on Siri on my phone.
Hey, Siri.
But no, that's going back to that Capitals game just quick yesterday. That's why I was so upset at my day job. That's why I was so upset night job when I was watching that first period, because it really didn't look like, it looked like they were really sluggish. Like they didn't look like they were trying anymore.
Yep.
And they can lose 4-0, right? Lose 4-0, you lose 4-0. But you gotta put in some effort here that matches at least 75% of what you did last year to keep it involved, to keep people believing in that the team is taking the step in the right direction. Like DP says on X, they did play a better game. But there you go. They did play a better game after that first period, but that first period was like a trash fire. They were terrible. Yeah. The goaltender was terrible, and you can tell that eked out to the rest of the team, and it looked like it was terrible. So seeing that bounce back in the second half of the game, it really puts you in a more calm down state of mind, and you're like, okay, it's not a great team, but they're going to try hard. As long as they try hard, as long as they keep pushing, as long as it still looks like they're playing for the coach, I think, we're in a good spot.
And show that they care.
Yeah.
And they did that. How many sticks got smashed at the end of last night? I saw Mishkov broke one. Yeah. Drysdale apparently shattered one, but I missed that. Like, they care a lot. They're not phoning it in. They're not trying to get their coach fired. They are we're frustrated with them. I don't think there's anyone more frustrated with the Flyers than the Flyers.
Yeah.
Even Tortorella is probably like, there's nothing I could say to this group. Like, they know. They are frustrated. They're more frustrated than Tortorella probably is.
You watch Torts, they're like, after the games, like, this team wants to win. This team wants to score in front of its fans. This team wants to have fun. Like, but they got to stick with the process, stick with the structure. We're losing that structure. But yeah, I think Wednesday night in the back-to-back, we saw in the second half of that game, the conditioning from training camp kind of pay off a little bit, opposed to the Capitals, like, the Torts rope and all that stuff hopefully paid off in that game. So if Ivan Fedotov wasn't Ivan Fedotov and had a little bit more 5-hole coverage, maybe they win that 1-4-3. Maybe they end up at least forcing overtime. But
he looked okay in the back half too. He started making some saves. He stopped flopping around like a fish out of water. So
yeah, the entire team, everyone to a man, looked better in that second half of that game.
Yeah, I was waiting for him to give up another one. And like, when he gives up a bad one, you see the team get deflated. Like, Like I remember watching, it was 3-0 and the Flyers were looking good. I was like, okay, score one, kind of get back in it now, but you got to score 3 to get back in it. But as Lavi said, take it one at a time. You got to score one, take it one at a time. And they did that. Should have tied it up on the Morgan Frost wraparound, but could not.
And as far as structures go, I feel like Torts has probably instituted some new structure from last season, and it might just take some time for them to get it right. And people are going to say, oh, their underlines are still terrible and they look terrible. And like, well, yeah, the underlines are going to be bad because they're in a learning process. They're trying to get this down, and it's not going to be pretty until it clicks. And then for the second half of last game, it looked like it started to click. Their passes were on the tape. They were getting their zone exits. They were taking over the zone. Maybe it just took like 7 or 8 games for them to finally have that aha moment.
Yeah, we've seen a very smart hockey mind say the Flyers might be trying a new breakout tactic this season, which kind of chip passes, one-tip passes, which if they work, it works, but also it looks like they're being outnumbered because they're standing still. So as I get into that more and they kind of know who's playing with each other, hopefully that can get better. It certainly can't get worse, I don't think.
No.
Their process is bad. I think their expected goals for percentage is 7th worst in the league. Like last year, they were top 10, top half at the very least. So it's going to get better at some point. But we don't have too much longer here. And I wanted to get into Jett Luchanko here a little bit. He's been healthy scratch now in 2 straight games. Because he played the home opener, scratched in both of the back-to-backs. I'm starting to wonder if the Flyers might pull a Shane Wright with him from 2 years ago, where they healthy scratch him for 5 games, and then they can send him down to the AHL in a conditioning stint. If they healthy scratch him both weekend games, and then next Tuesday, he can go down to the AHL by Wednesday. The Phantoms play Wednesday, and they can stay down there for a maximum of 5 games or 14 days. He could get into full 5 games in those 14 days. So I could see them potentially doing that, just to, get him to work on his game at a level above the OHL, especially on a shit team like Guelph. But also maybe he's going to get back in the lineup and get those 9 games. Like, what do you guys think about Jett right now?
Yeah, Jett. It's funny because it looked for a minute there like there was 0 chance he was going back. For like a split second there, it seemed like he was damn near penciled in as the 2C. For a bit there, right? He was almost a power play guy too, and but I think it's kind of obvious now that while he could play at the NHL level, I think he could cut it as an NHL player. Like, you just want to leave him for the rest of the year in the NHL, he could definitely do it, and it's not going to make your team worse, at least not demonstrably. But I think it's probably best for him to go back now. That is an interesting little theory you brought up, Ryan, about going down to the AHL. My question to you guys is, do you think the organization would rather him go straight back to Guelph so he has a full year of just OHL, focusing on the OHL, I assume also the World Juniors? If he makes a team, we never know what Hockey Canada is going to do. But would you rather you think that the organization would rather him go straight to the OHL and have a more linear, just a regular season? Or again, he'll be at 3 different levels if he goes to the AHL, because he's going to have to leave that conditioning stint and go back to Guelph eventually, unless they brought him back to the NHL, which I guess is still a possibility. But do you think which one of those options do you guys think that they prefer?
Boy, I mean, it seems like Torts wants him all year, but I don't think Danny and Keith are going to let him have it. I would prefer them not do the AHL conditioning stint, just because you brought up World Juniors. I think he's not a lock, but I think he has a inside track to making that team. That would mean, let's see.
That would be a fourth quote unquote level of play then.
Yeah. So he's done the NHL. They do an AHL conditioning stint. Danny and Keith would probably be like, John, you can't have him all year. We have to have contract management. There's a numbers part to this. Send him back to the OHL. That's 3. And then if he makes the World Juniors team, he has to try out for it first, then make it. Maybe he's able to just switch all that. Maybe he's got the hockey mind to just adapt and handle it, and just be like, instead of seeing it as, oh, I got demoted, more like, wow, everybody wants me everywhere. put a positive spin on it, you know? But me, I want to see him go down. The hockey IQ is there. The skating is there. Physically, he's ready. I want more from him. I want more offense. I want to see him really just like focus on that specifically, because what he's doing right now is good enough to stick in the lineup. I want him to ascend the lineup, not just stick in it, you know?
Yeah, and like looking at the Phantoms lines from their past few games, like they're not great. Top line is Ant Dick, Abels, and Lixell. Tuamala's been up there. Like they've been looking at Bob Rotruck's tweets from the past few games. It seemed to be mixing and matching quite a bit. So like maybe that wouldn't even be good for Luchanko, but I think him playing in the AHL, like that's a huge step up from the OHL. You know, a step down from the NHL, obviously, but he's playing against other grown men, like veteran AHL guys. So I think that would be good for him. And we also have to mention that, you know, the Flyers might be waiting for the Guelph Storm to trade him, because the Guelph Storm are an awful hockey team, and maybe they want him in a better situation, perhaps London, with our good friends Barkey and Bonk there. So
That would be so
be a
fun.
factor as well.
That'd be a time. That power play would be lethal.
Oh, I
Not like
love
it
that.
already wasn't.
I know. Is Bonk still playing the bumper? I think he must be, right? We talked about this like a week or two
Bumper
ago.
bonk.
Bumper
I don't know.
Bonk, I think
I haven't exactly checked, but I'd assume so. It works so well, so I'd assume they wouldn't change it. But
You haven't checked out any Knights games yet? I thought you were not too far from London.
I went to school in London,
Mhm.
Western. I went to school at Western. Went to a couple Knights games while I was there. Went to U18 Challenge game. They used to do the Russia one, the Russia series. Went to one there. Quentin Byfield. Saw Quentin Byfield live. Holy
Ooh.
shit.
I
When
bet.
he was playing against those guys, he didn't look fair. Didn't
He's
look
like-
fair.
Yeah, he's like 6'5", 6'6",
Oh,
right?
he was
Like,
huge.
yeah.
He was massive. One of the people who lived down the street from me was on the Jameson Reese was on the team. He lives literally over there. But but he was there, so I went to watch him, and I'm just like, Byfield in the corners is just like, oh my god, he's an absolute monster. But either way, getting back to Luchanko as well, just bring up the one other thing about that AHL conditioning stint, or like the possibility of it. The AHL is a supremely tough league, like physically, I mean,
Yes.
tough. Like there are some
Yeah.
big bodies down there, and there are some guys who mean business. As you guys may know, for my day job, I am a video analyst, so I watch a bunch of hockey, AHL being part of it, and AHL games. The one thing you can say is that if you want to watch good fights now, you want to watch some good fist fights on a sheet of ice, the AHL is where you got to go now.
Yep.
The AHL
It's just everyone wanting to be the next Tom Wilson or the next Matt Rempe. That's what the AHL is.
Yeah.
It is a very tough league, even when you're just playing like outside of the fighting aspect. And Jett's not necessarily a big guy. He's not necessarily growing into his frame. So the more we talk about it, I think it's probably just better to go back to Guelph. But
Yeah, that's definitely a fair counterpoint, because like he'll have a bounty on his head, but like people, the opponent will know, okay, he's down here on condition.
He's 18.
They don't want
He's
to
18, man.
Like, oh yeah, let me put a few big hits on my tape here to see if I can get a call up or something. So
Yep.
yeah, we'll see what happens there with Jett. But a few more minutes here. I would be remiss if I didn't bring up Jacob's boy Igor Zavragin, just being insane in the KHL. I'm seeing here 7-3 so far, 9.37 save percentage, 2.16 goals against. That's combined in Sochi and SKA. With SKA, he's 4-0, save percentage 9.29, 209 goals against. So Jacob, take it away.
Oh, this guy. This is my guy now. This is my guy now.
Oh man.
I've been so I think I've said this on this podcast, or maybe it's just with Thomas and Maddie, but when Kolosov, the whole drama was going on there with Kolosov, will he come, will he not, will he stay in Russia, will he go to the AHL, will he report to Allentown, will he even live in Allentown, does he like Allentown? I didn't care, because one, Fedotov obviously was there, but Zavragin, like, he is playing. SKA is probably the most prestigious hockey team in Russia, either that or CSKA Moscow. Like, this is for a 19-year-old to be doing this is absolutely just starting, you know, not even the fact that he's performing very well is obviously amazing, but the fact that he's even getting the chance to start for SKA is nuts. It's nuts to me. And I think, you know, obviously you're gonna have to wait an extra few years for him to ever, you know, have a chance to come over. Hopefully they let him at this rate. But
Yeah.
no, he's been fantastic. You know, if he can keep this up throughout a whole season, like if he can do this throughout a whole season, I don't even know if this is hyperbole. I think he's the best. It's hyperbole. I was gonna say that. I was gonna say it, but I didn't. He might be the best goalie. He might end up being the best goalie prospect in the league.
Yeah.
I don't think that's crazy because who else is playing in a men's league that is of the KHL's caliber of a team with that prestige and putting up those numbers?
Yeah.
If you can continue to do it, obviously.
In the infamous words of Paris Hilton, that's hot.
Glad to put that on the soundboard. The jokes.
Oh yeah,
that's 19 years old. Just turned 19 in August, so 2 months ago, pretty much. But yeah, starting in the KHL. I just quickly looked at Sorokin didn't come over until he was 24. Shesterkin, I think the same thing. But Vasilevsky came over when he was 20, but when he was 19, he played primarily in the MHL. So he played 8 games in the KHL. So seeing Zavragin doing this, 11 games already in the KHL, looks like Scott wants him. They called him back from loan, so he didn't play better for an opponent there. So yeah, it's exciting. Obviously, still a few years away, if not more than a few. But you know, this could be the next guy or the guy because there's no current guy.
Yeah. Did you say August? His birthday's in August?
August 23rd.
So was he really young for his draft year as well? Like supremely young?
I guess so. Yeah, drafted
He must have been
2023, third round. Yeah.
Man, the Flyers have 2 guys that are like super young for their draft year, and they're like, oh, these guys are legit. Nah. But he's got 2.5 years left on his contract. I'm willing to wait. We don't need him now. Just let him cook. Let him cook over in the KHL and bring him over when he's ready.
Even looking at his numbers last year between the MHL and VHL, I imagine the VHL is pretty awful. I'm sure Jacob can speak to that. He was
the MHL and VHL are shit.
Okay, yeah, but he was 19-2-2 with a goals against 1.6, save percentage 945. Like, I don't care what league you're playing in. If you're playing against your peers, that's fantastic numbers.
And the thing I'd like to add to that too is it's shit, but the defensive coverage is also terrible too. Like they'll have 2 on O's, 3 on O's, changes that the wholesale 5-man change, and there's nobody on the ice. Right? Like it's not easy. I'd say it's easy for like if Mishkov was there and he puts up 1 billion points, that's one thing, right? But for goalies, I don't think it's that much easier. Like guys can still shoot the puck. Like it's fine. Yeah. And if you look at his stats, like he's really, where has he been a bad goalie? You know, there's one, I can't pronounce that team name. Ugra, Conti,
Monsisic.
Yeah,
two
U18.
Games.
Yeah, he had bad 2 games.
Yeah,
and he had 2 goals against.
Yeah. I love it.
You know, isn't he's just a good goalie.
Didn't Ivan Demidov say, "I hate him. He's the only guy I can't score against," or something like that? Was it Demidov that said that about Zabragin?
It's just fueling the Montreal,
Philadelphia
one-sided beef.
Exactly. Suck it, Habs fans. Yeah. We don't think about you at all.
The only time that the Flyers fans don't actually want to be in an actual angry confrontation with another fan base.
Hey, Eastern Conference Final 2028 is going to go hard.
Oh man,
I'll take it.
2027. Let's say that. We'll get a little earlier than that.
There's the optimism coming back, Joe. I like it. I like the optimism there.
Hey, listen, we always said that the 2026-27 season was go time because that was originally when Michkov was going to come over, right? Mm-hmm. So,
yeah.
But Zabragin won't be over till 27.
He could be over by then. I don't know his KHL contract.
They're not. It's 2.5 years left, and they're not going to let him go if he keeps playing like this.
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait. Yeah. So 2027, 28 Eastern Conference Final is going to go hard as fuck. Okay.
All right, we got to wrap up now. One final shot, one final point from both of you guys. What do you got?
Go ahead, Jacob. Take it away.
Oh my God.
I'll go next.
Scratch.
One thing you want to see this weekend: home back to back against Minnesota and Montreal. Besides a win,
I'd like to see a Tyson Forster goal. You know, just get a nice, get a tally after the scratching, and we can start kicking off. But as a team, I'd also like to see one line, just one line.
Yeah,
for a
Have a
whole
line.
game.
Just a whole game, just a line.
Yeah.
Well, I might be at Saturday's game. Then it'll be my first of the season, which should be fun. And I like the one line thing. That's good. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Michkov gets his first career hat trick. Let's do that. Let's have some fun with it.
I
No,
see.
Okay,
I
well,
like
I
that.
want to see that. Yes, I would love that. Yeah.
All right. In a more realistic realm, I want Zamula off PP2, and I want to see ideally York. But if they put Sanheim there, I can live with it. If they put Risto there,
They're
like,
not Risto there.
I wouldn't. Is he the Flyers' best defenseman right now? We could talk about this
No,
like
it's Cam
on
York.
Monday.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about this.
But no, I want to see someone else, a new face on PP2 as the blue line walker.
Yeah,
How about you?
Completely
How about you,
agree
Gilbs?
with both of those. I want to see Michkov with the same center back-to-back games. And I think a Morgan
Yeah,
Frost.
nice.
Maybe Michkov Frost back together.
Yeah.
Frost getting a goal there.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
All right, guys. Where can people follow you, Joe?
You can find me at Jett DeMarini on Twitter. Haven't gotten around to Blue Sky yet, but maybe by New Year's I will. We'll see how it goes.
And how about you, Jacob?
BroadStreetHockey.com, of course. I will be doing some more writing whenever I'm not working until 2:30 in the morning. But on Twitter and Blue Sky, I am at Russell_28_. Should put it in my little
Double
tag
underscore.
there. I like that you guys did that. Yeah, the first underscore was taken. When I got there. There was another Russell named Claude Giroux fan at that time, I guess.
Oh boy. How about you, Gilbs? Where can they find
you can follow me on Twitter at rgilbertsop and on Blue Sky, Ryan Gilbert on there. I was able to get my name. I was an early adopter, I guess. I was able to get that. We got to get you on Blue Sky, Joe. We got to get everyone to Blue Sky because Twitter is just a cesspool even more than
Listen, I'm not in a rush. There are no other DeMarinis besides myself, really. So nobody's going to be taking my name.
The bat company. Yours the baseball bat company?
Yeah, but none of them are going to use JF. I'm not worried about it.
That's
no relation, by the way. No relation to the bat company.
You don't come from bat riches?
I am not bat people. No.
That sucks. It was so cool if you were. I love DeMarini bats. Anyways, we got to get out of here now.
Yeah. Follow Broad Street Hockey at Broad ST Hockey on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Shout out Bet Online. And until next time, thanks for listening.
Go